Hi, my name is Paul James Lee. I help people invest, understand, and maintain cryptocurrency investments. I've been tracking Bitcoin since 2011, when a full coin was worth just $15. Since then, I've helped dozens of people make successful cryptocurrency investments just by applying some simple techniques that have produced results like Ethereum 22,800% since 2016, Curve Finance 600% in the last 12 months, and Matic, which is up 70% just in the last 3 months alone. There are some extraordinary opportunities available in the cryptocurrency markets, but only in high quality long-term projects. The cryptocurrency markets are still in their infancy, even though Bitcoin has been around for the last 13 years or so. Factors which are pushing up cryptocurrency valuations include hyperinflation or money printing, new regulations which allow investment funds to purchase cryptocurrencies, new exchanges coming on board, decentralized finance, non-fungible tokens, and the much hyped metaverse, which is an area of considerable interest. Join with me as I present the 5 golden rules of successful cryptocurrency investment. This presentation is followed by a question and answer session, and finally I'll provide you with some offers to help you make the most of this wonderful opportunity to capitalize on this burgeoning new market. I hope you'll watch till the end, and thank you for coming along. The 5 golden rules of successful cryptocurrency investment. Rule number 1, know yourself. Your risk profile is low, medium, or high. Whatever your risk tolerance, you should always include low risk investments anyway, and only stretch to higher risk levels in accordance with what feels comfortable. Rule number 2, find trustworthy information sources. This sounds pretty obvious, but it has to be stated. How do you find who is and who isn't trustworthy? Start by finding one person or persons you can trust and ask them. Build out your trusted network from there. One great way to gauge a source you can't reach personally is to ask the question, do they make videos? If not, then why not? Watching the way a person presents is key. Videos are a great way to help with the process as it provides maximum exposure. Rule number 3, understand your investment. Now, you don't need to have a PhD in the subject, and you can take your time to grow your understanding. But obviously, the more you understand, the better your decision making will be. Number 4, make a plan. Your plan is going to be the best one for you, and no one else can make it for you. Though obviously, before you do make your plan, the more knowledgeable you are, the wiser your decision making will be. Rule number 5, serenity can only be achieved by investing what you can afford to lose entirely in the first place. Also, sizing your investments appropriately. If you can cash out your original investment at some point, this can also really help because you get a free ride on your investment. You've been listening to the 5 golden rules of successful cryptocurrency investment. 2017, I presented Ireland's first ever paid public event on the topic of cryptocurrencies. There was about 150 people came along, and I helped a lot of people that day understand and get into cryptocurrencies. So since then, 2018 to 2020, where it was a very hard time for the market. But I held on. I stuck with my investments up until today, which I still have them. In 2020, I started to really study blockchain programming, because I really wanted to understand from first principles how Bitcoin and Ethereum work. So I dove headfirst into that, and now I have a very good understanding from a programmer's perspective and from a network perspective how the technology works. Just a brief kind of history of where I've come from with crypto. During the crash of 2008, I was running a successful architecture practice, and I had an office in Cork City, where I'm from. I had an office in town. I was designing houses and extensions for people. I was designing office buildings, and doing very well. I had very little to zero interest about the financial system or monetary policy or anything like that. Suddenly, when I had to close my office, I became extremely interested in all of those things, and I started to study economics, monetary theory, and everything connected with that. I studied technology. I helped people to use the technology that I use in my business, in architecture, 3D modeling, digital modeling, and I have created coursework in that, and I've done lectures in companies like Google, Dell, Stryker, Vodafone, and many others. And I built a website for my local town, cork.guide, which is a unique website displaying the city center in 3 dimensions. But so I have a lot of technological progress under my belt. But when I was introduced to the concept of Bitcoin back in 2011, I had met up with a bunch of geeks who were talking about this phenomenal technology. I became quite interested in it. I thought that perhaps it sounded too good to be true, but I was very hopeful that it would turn out to be something really, really cool, which it did. So that was in 2011. It was 2013 when I eventually invested. I was giving a presentation, and I wanted to put my money where my mouth was. So I made an investment before going to see these investors that I wanted to sway. And so that was 2013. I bought into Bitcoin, and I held through the downturn. At just in the middle of 2013, there was a downturn. I held on to my Bitcoin through that. In 2016, I was introduced to Ethereum, which is the second largest cryptocurrency by capitalization, and I transferred all my Bitcoin into Ethereum. Like over 4 weeks, I would deliver 2 1-hour Zoom calls, and I would bring you through a number of processes. The first is very simple, starting off very simple, and then getting a little bit over time, a little bit more into the deeper end of how to manage your cryptocurrencies. So it's kind of 3 processes. One is really like a simple thing, where we use a paper wallet. Then we go to a mobile exchange where we can buy and sell using our credit cards. And then I'm going to show you what's called a Web3 interface, which is an interface that works in conjunction with your browser, but it's a secure interface for Ethereum coins. Most alternative coins are based on Ethereum. So the Web3 solution is a way of managing those coins. And then when you're talking about Bitcoin, there's a solution for managing Bitcoin, which is kind of separate to that. But
so once we complete the 4 weeks, how much does the average person have to continue to invest of their time on a daily or weekly basis to managing their bank?
You can leave it there. You can literally plug a number into a monitor that will tell you instantly what your investments are worth. And it might be 6 months that you decide, okay, I want to take out some of my Bitcoin, I want to take out some of my Ethereum. It is your decision. The means for doing that, we're going to set that up as well. We're going to connect your bank account with the ability to sell cryptos and put dollars into your bank account.
Okay.
Like it's kind of 8 hours interaction over Zoom. There's some things that you need to do in between. I'm going to give you a bunch of tools that will enable you to properly. There are some very simple things that we need to do that people don't talk about, like it's stuff to do with managing passwords, managing literally the locations where you put stuff, and people mess these things up, and they're very simple. It's not rocket science, but it's just simple stuff that we all need to do, and it's like it's a box ticking exercise. Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? And once you get that stuff out of the way, it's very simple. It's like an accounting practice. You just tick the boxes, you write in the details, and you have a process for looking after your paperwork and keeping your paperwork. And once you have that in place, you have solved problems that a lot of people don't solve until they've made some pretty bad mistakes, and then you get good at it. But you're not good at it until you've made the mistakes, unless somebody tells you how to do these things. And surprisingly, there isn't a lot like there. I haven't seen anything about managing the locations of your crypto. There's a couple of automatic tools there, but I don't think they match your own manual process in terms of reliability and also privacy. Like there's online tools that you can put in details, but you're putting your information out there on the internet. You know, the most secure records are manual copies. and how you manage those and where you put them and how you communicate with your loved ones, what you're doing with your crypto and how to securely do that. You don't want to telegraph what you're doing to unrelated parties. You need to do exercises that help you to secure what you're doing. I haven't seen any good material on that, and that's a core part of what I'm delivering. Any other questions? What I'll do is I'll kind of go through some of these slides here that just kind of talk about what's on offer here. Are you afraid of losing your pants? Really, like I'm just emphasizing the point here that the simple fear of loss can be overblown and prevent us from making some reasonable investments to improve our circumstances. It's a tiny asset. You can see the benefits of it, but it's something in its infancy. So it grows over time. It grows over 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years into something that was initially, when I came across it, it was $15 a Bitcoin. Today it is $47,000. The only reason I didn't invest back then in 2011 was I actually didn't have the money to invest. And that's why I don't have a private jet today. On top of that, then there were some technical problems with Mt. Gox was really the kind of only choice there for an exchange that you could buy Bitcoin, based in Japan, and you had to go through a complex process to purchase Bitcoin. You kind of sending money to a Japanese bank account and hoping that the guys at the other end are going to honor their end of the bargain. But in any case, Mt. Gox was hacked. There are cases going on and so on. So, but that was something that happened early on in Bitcoin's history. But the fact still remains, Bitcoin has never been hacked. Bitcoin, the network, the blockchain, has never been hacked. We have to balance our fears and our confidence against our confidence. And naturally enough, it's a new technology. You can only start to gain confidence in a new technology once you see it working over an extended period of time. So at this point, Bitcoin is starting to show itself to the ordinary person in the street that it's a reliable asset. But the problem that the ordinary person in the street has nowadays is they don't know a good way to get in to purchase Bitcoin. They don't know what's a good way to keep their currencies, keep them safe, and what they would do with them when they have them. So these things need to be addressed. The technology is improving, it's getting faster, it's getting more efficient. There are new kind of platforms. There's also kind of like regulation, which helps with recognition by people that this is a serious asset, but that helps to grow the asset when the majority of the population understands that the asset is a solid investment and that it's going to maintain its value over time. What's on offer here? Okay, so it's a 4-week course, 2 live Zoom calls a week, an hour each. I would say you have an hour or 2 extra every week to assess the materials that I will send to you and to look over the technicalities of what we will have discussed in the Zoom calls. And we have questions and answers. I have materials that you will download, and I will be producing extra video materials as well, a newsletter. What we're talking about here is building a crypto bank. So as I said earlier, you are establishing a bank account, but you're the manager of the bank in whose vault your savings are kept. On the first stage, we're just going to do a very simple exercise to create a paper wallet, and we're going to move crypto around using old school Bitcoin technology. And it's kind of fast, and it's a fun thing to do. The next thing we're going to do is set up an exchange account where we're going to do some more serious stuff and look at ways of putting more substantial funds into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and we're going to look at a range of options for alternative coins. I'm going to go through like the kind of options that are there, what the different coins are for. That'll give you an idea of why they're valuable and why you might invest, and what the potential kind of growth is possible there. So this presentation is the 5 golden rules of crypto investing. I'm going to go through, expand that into 10 rules. You're going to get a very good overview of the totality of the things that mostly what you need to avoid losing, to avoid buying at the wrong time, selling at the wrong time. Most important of all, knowing what not to do to lose any of your investment. Number 4, your new bank and your old bank. We're going to connect the legacy banking system with the crypto banking system that you have set up. And we're going to go through that process, and you're going to understand how that works. Not just how to get in. It's easier to get in, but to extract your crypto and to put dollars in your bank account, that's another process, and we'll go through that process. Finally, then we're going to get an overview of the kinds of things you can do with crypto. There are savings accounts, there are places you can spend crypto, there are different types of investments, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, kind of things that you can do with non-fungible tokens. And these things are important going forward. People are going to be interested in these things more and more, and to be able to talk about these things in a rational way means that you have more decision-making power that will help you maximize your investment, and to help out others too who might be thinking about making investments. You can inform them in a way that can really help them. I'm going to be running this course at a cost of $497. The introductory offer today is $347, so that's a $150 saving. And today what I'm offering is a digital copy of The Human Side of Bitcoin and Cryptocurrencies, which it's a 125-page book which I have poured my soul into in terms of my understanding of cryptocurrencies, the kind of people who created them, the people who teach you about them, and also some of the outlaws, the bandits, the always interesting characters that are opposed to cryptocurrencies. And I also explain a lot of things like decentralized finance, different types of coins like privacy coins, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And really, it's an interesting read to give you an overview of what this is all about. And it just gives you an intellectual understanding. And that when I say intellectual, it's explained in layperson's terms what these things are all about. But
and what's been your feedback from lay people? Have they given you good feedback that you broke it down on a level they can understand it?
I've had some very good feedback. I suppose it's a mixture of kind of well-versed people and people who are kind of starting out with with understanding of crypto, but the feedback's been very, very good. It's been
Okay.
it's been excellent. You know, it's like it's a limited market so far. But I've bought copies and I've sold those. The book is written in a very quirky, entertaining way. That's how I like to do things. As you can see, the kind of presentation here, you could actually put it in front of someone who isn't really interested in cryptos. They'd still find it entertaining because the kind of characters that are described in the book are so interesting and so compelling. All of these stories add up to our understanding of cryptos, where they came from, and why they're valuable.
So you get 6 months free access to your newsletter. How much is your newsletter normally?
Okay, so I'm looking at a price of $35 a half. So you know,
What's that, a half a year? Are you talking
half
6
year,
months?
yeah.
Okay.
So like a weekly newsletter where I break down the kind of the trends in the markets, and what, you know, the trendsetters are saying, what the top guys are saying in terms of the different areas of the market, you know, whether
So that's like a weekly email?
Yeah, it's an email. Yeah, you know, I'll provide bits and pieces like links to kind of resources. I'll be adding resources to my own website too, so you'll have access to, you know, the stuff I'm talking about. I'll be putting you in touch with other parties who are more expert than I am in a particular area. And you know, I'm looking to do interviews with people and find out more. So I do a lot of digging. I spent the last 10 years really researching, digging, talking to people, getting opinions for and against cryptocurrencies, talking to people who are outside the market, inside the market, contrarians, mostly contrarians, because that's where the interesting stuff is. Crypto is contrarian by nature, and that's where the value is. If you're looking for blue chip stocks, if you're buying Google, if you're buying Apple, you know, yeah, you could make a little bit of money, but you need to put a lot of money in those stocks to make money. Whereas crypto is, they call it an asymmetrical trade. So the downside is proportionally much smaller in comparison with the upside, and that's just because it's a contrarian market. Not a lot of people understand it, and you know why it's valuable and why it will become more valuable into the future. Not a lot of people understand it. So while that keeps it small, relatively speaking, for the time being, it also means you get in now, and in a relatively short period of time, you're seeing this market balloon to really eat up inflation. The dollars that are being printed, the euros that are being printed are doing. We can see that inflation in house prices. House prices are the red flag of inflation. People can't afford to buy houses anymore. That is why we need cryptos to hoover up the inflation. And it also means we're protecting ourselves against inflation if we purchase cryptos. So this also comes with a guarantee that you will be able to operate your own bank in a manner that I lay out in the course. And if you do the things in the way that I lay out, that you will be able to operate your own bank, or you get your money back.